Radio Play Comics is meant to adapt the stories mostly of great unadapted old and forgotten comics from the past. I use voice acting and narration to abridge the work as much as possible without lessening its impact, and to bring these stories to life the best way I can. Please enjoy. Hi, I'm Nick, and welcome to the Fusion Space for today's episode of Radio Play Comics, Punisher, Confederacy of Dunces. This is meant as a companion piece to my episode adapting Punisher Kills the Marvel Universe. And though it shares the title of a book from 1980, that appears to be all it shares, and is more in theme with a quote from Jonathan Swift I've included on the title page. Both Confederacy and Kills were written by Garth Ennis, but at very different points in his career. Kills was made before he started writing his version of the Punisher, paired with art by Steve Dillon, which would see breakout popularity, and reunited the team that had made Preacher over at DC Vertigo and set the comics world ablaze years prior. And you can see that first 12-issue run in my Punisher episode, Welcome Back, Frank. Confederacy of Dunces, though, was written at the end of Garth's run on the Marvel Knights Punisher after 4 years of writing the character and his world, from 2000 to 2004, set largely apart from all other superheroes and villains. Over time, the other Marvel elements made their way in, though, and this story is the final culmination of that process. You see, at various points in that 4-year run, Frank had used, beaten, and/or humiliated Daredevil, Spider-Man, and Wolverine on separate occasions, and I'll summarize those encounters before we begin. In our main story, the three heroes team up, deciding it's time to finally bring the Punisher to justice. The reason these are companion pieces is because Kills is a very dark and grim story set in a what-if alternate reality where heroes killed Frank's family, not mobsters, and his methods are stark and brutal. This story is set in the regular Marvel universe, though, and is written with a much greater perspective on the character, meaning that this Frank will go very far out of his way not to kill the heroes in question, but he still has to find a way to battle them nonetheless. It's also a heck of a lot more fun. Garth's Marvel Knights run of the Punisher was dark and violent, but also humorous at many times, and this story relegates Wolverine to the status of a catchphrase-spouting cartoon comic relief character, which is just Garth having fun poking at the big names, as he likes to do. My excuse in-universe is that Wolverine simply hasn't regrown a part of his brain the week this all happens. Garth's Daredevil and Spider-Man are much more in line with their standard comic versions, though, and that helps ground the story in the Marvel Universe the fans know and love. And I believe Daredevil and Spider-Man share the Marvel Knights line with him, which is probably why they were chosen for the initial encounters. This story also marks the ending of Garth's Marvel Knights Punisher series, and it would be immediately followed by a new series, Punisher Max, aimed at a more adult audience with a more serious and realistic tone. And Garth would go on to explore new depths to the character over the next few years with that title. Then the title itself would be relaunched with a new writer in 2009, and returning artist Steve Dillon. Still, Confederacy of Dunces marked the end of an era. The Marvel Knights Punisher returned Frank to a place of honor and interest in the fandom, redeeming him from his awful angel powers period, and refining what many fans say is still their favorite incarnation of the Punisher. I would happen to be one of them. To me, Marvel Knights Punisher is the perfect balance of his versions. He's smart and tactically clever, he's grimly funny, and doesn't suffer mentally from his lifestyle or trauma, yet he's also not a kill-crazed rampaging machine. No, this Frank is still very human. He's just confident that what he does is for the best, and he goes about it without the brooding vengeance of a Batman type, or the complete emotional deadness of the Dolph Lundgren 1989 version, which I love for what it is, but it's not as fun as this version of Frank. He has feelings, but he's mostly at peace with his place in the world after such a long time doing it, and it's just a joy to watch him work, running circles around the guilty while jumping through hoops to protect the innocent. This Frank keeps it all in perspective. He doesn't have a lot of lessons to learn or flaws to correct. He's a nearly perfect machine. And under Garth's pen and in New York City, he's truly in his element. And when Garth gets to take his Frank up against the Bright Tights Brigade, he really gets to shine. So don't expect this story to be any kind of morality play where we're meant to question if maybe the heroes ought to bring the Punisher in. No, this is a rollicking, fun, good time adventure to end the run on a high note, with Garth using Frank as a tool to show why he has the disdain he does for the big-name popular superheroes, the mainstream you might call it, and why it's a good thing that guys like Frank can succeed as well. Because sometimes getting the job of a hero done means something besides bright, colorful costumes and flashy powers, punching aliens through buildings or shooting spectacular amounts of webbing. Sometimes the real work gets done in the shadows by people who wouldn't even call themselves heroes at all. Or, as Frank likes to put it, I believe in the system. The system works. Right up until a point. After that, there's me. So now, without further ado, let's move on to the recaps. The Punisher's encounter with Daredevil was first, and occurred in the 3rd issue of the first 12-issue run, which I adapted as Welcome Back Frank, so many of you may have seen it, and many more of you may have seen the scene as roughly adapted into the Daredevil TV show. Frank lures Daredevil into trying to stop him assassinating a criminal, then triggers an ultrasonic device taking advantage of his super senses and incapacitating him. When Matt wakes up, Frank has him chained up and has taped a gun in his hand. He explains that Matt has one shot to stop Frank from taking his own. He can't throw the gun, and Frank is wearing Kevlar, so it has to be a headshot. If Matt doesn't shoot, he's letting a murder happen. If he does, he's a killer. Matt asks Frank what the hell kind of choice that is, and Frank tells him it's the same one he makes every time he pulls the trigger. In the end, Matt pulls the trigger, but the gun only clicks. Frank makes his kill. Then he makes his point. No firing pin. You can leave the killing to me. The chains will be gone when you wake up. The Punisher met with Spider-Man in the 2nd issue of the ongoing Marvel Knights series when the Russian newly returned to action with cybernetic implants and, other implants, threw Frank off the top of a tall building. And as we all know from Family Guy, everybody gets one save from Spider-Man. Apparently this was Frank's. The Russian was already freakishly strong before having his body enhanced, and now he's nearly unstoppable. He easily throws Spider-Man away time and again as Frank narrowly avoids danger. Eventually, Frank takes the fight up to the rooftops again, where the Russian bashes Spider-Man into a metal drum, knocking him out. Frank picks up the unconscious hero and uses him as a shield, absorbing more punches from the Russian, who is entertained by his ploy. Until Frank figures out how to trigger Spider-Man's web shooters, that is, and fills his mouth with webbing. Frank then pushes the Russian off the building, and he falls through the street onto the subway track below. Spidey soon comes to, and asks, "What happened?" "We had a team-up. You were great." And finally, the Punisher actually fought Wolverine in issues 16 and 17 of the Marvel Knights run. The two ran into each other by tracking the victims of a mysterious party kidnapping and severing the legs of mobsters, both being combative by nature and both assuming the other to be the one responsible for the attacks they fight. Frank opening up by blowing Logan's face off of his adamantium skull with a shotgun. He takes a few slashes from Wolverine's claws in return, then responds with a baseball bat to the crotch. The Punisher is about to set Logan ablaze after dousing him in gasoline when the mysterious kidnapper steps forward. It turns out it was the brother of a mobster who was born with dwarfism and who was cruelly mocked for his entire life because of it. As revenge, he has been shortening the mobsters who mocked him with the aid of many others with his condition, intending to use their victims as slaves. Frank and Logan both tear into the crowd in a story appropriately titled, Aim Low. They kill their way free of them, then Frank handicaps Wolverine by shooting his balls off, just to keep him out of the way. Still, together they end up killing all the ones who wish to be violent, and then Frank just has one problem left: how to evade Wolverine for a few days until he's lost Frank's scent. And then he sees the steamroller. This ought to do the trick. You gotta be out of your mind. Stop! I'll water your castle. I'll give you one last chance. I'm telling you, stop this now while you still can. That is it. You're a dead man, Castle. Gotta hunt you to the ends of the earth, you hear me? Gotta find you. Gotta kill you. Gotta gut you like a fish. Then I'm gonna carve the words of your mother-loving heart. It don't pay to mess with... Well, we've had our differences. Just goes to show what we can do when we overcome them. Maybe one day we can work together again. The underworld won't know what hit it. Until then, good luck, Pine Martin. And people say I have no sense of humor. Wolverine leaves a middle claw extended as a final message of his own. And now that you're all caught up on the history, on with the show. When a true genius appears in the world, you may know him by this sign, that the dunces are all in confederacy against him. Jonathan Swift. Thoughts on various subjects, moral and diverting. 1706. We're going to have to do something about him. The Punisher shoots a criminal in the face. Confederacy of Dunces. Part 1. He's killed several thousand men to date. Shows no sign of stopping whatsoever. They cross whatever line he's drawn. He judges them, he passes sentence, and then he blows them away. What he calls justice happens in the time it takes to pull a trigger. Frank sprays bullets on both sides of him with pistols in his crossed arms, cutting down 4 more attackers. The deaths of his family are no justification for 30 years of bloodshed. By now, he does it out of habit. He doesn't want to stop. A man leaps at him from behind with a pool cue. For the sake of justice, for the moral health and sanity of society, Frank Castle must be captured and handed over to the authorities for trial. But Frank blows him away without turning around or breaking his rhythm.
Say what?
I said.
I heard what you said, bub. Trial frickin' smile.
2 thugs eye the exit behind him as Frank mounts a pool table.
The lousy psycho's going down.
But then more of his bullets take the choice away from them.
Ain't no one treats the old candlehead like his own personal punch bag and gets away with it without paying the fiddler. He blows my face off, shoots me in the crotch, damn near fries me alive with gasoline.
Wolverine remembers going under the roller.
And then, the final ignominy. The dirty fricker drives a steamroller over my head.
Hey, don't forget what happened to your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. I got used as a shield while Castle was fighting,
Spider-Man remembers more than he'd like to.
well, it's hard to describe, but it beat me to a pulp, whatever it was, and I have a lot of unresolved issues left over from that night. I just felt soiled and abused and kinda dirty.
Yes, well, I got put through the ringer too, but this is about more than just settling scores. Daredevil remembers his false choice. Castle is a killer. He has to be taken off the streets. Currently, all 3 superheroes confer together on a rooftop. But it has to be done properly, because murder is a line I will not cross.
Seems to me it's how you take him off the streets for good. Ain't like he's gonna do much killing when he's dead, is it?
Which is exactly the way he thinks. Understand this. I called you 2 because I know you each have an axe to grind with Castle. I want all the help I can get to bring him in. But we do this my way, or we don't do it at all. And if either of you have a problem with that, good night and God bless. Good luck finding him without me.
And good luck taking him down without us, huh?
Oh, I could do it alone, but I couldn't guarantee it wouldn't get messy. And like I say, this has to be done right. I want him overwhelmed before he knows what's hit him, before he has time to prepare some genocidal atrocity of a counterattack. I don't want anyone getting hurt in the crossfire. I don't want there to be a crossfire. In or out?
In.
In.
Looks like we can finally close the book on the Punisher, hey you guys?
Let's not get overconfident. Plenty of people have made that mistake with him before, and we know what happened to them. That's the trouble with Frank Castle. Things have a way of happening. A moment of silence passes as they all consider where they went wrong.
Final ignominy, right?
Yep.
Whatever.
Unexpected bonus here. Came looking for little Mickey Clooney. Ended up killing half the Irish mob. Such as it is. The Westies had their heyday 30 years back. Now liquor and Italians have long since laid them low. The Punisher takes cover behind the pool table as 2 new gunmen fire from the door. Terrible thing to outlive your time. He dives out and blows them both away.
Mickey, come on, get behind us now, come on!
A man bleeding from one arm makes his way down the stairs. More of them down there with him. If I try to follow, I'll be framed in the doorway, instantly shot to bits. Hate to leave a job half done. Can I make it out to the car and back before they venture up here?
Still there?
Don't hear nothing.
You think you're gonna hear jack with that animal? Stay where you are, you stupid friggin' maggots!
Mickey's arm is bandaged as 3 others aim their guns up the stairs.
Well, wait him out. He'll get fed up and go, or the cops will come. There's no way he's coming down here.
I think he's gone.
Yeah.
Suddenly a gas can flies down the stairs with a grenade taped to it. A man clutching his wounded leg reaches out to Frank.
Help. Got something you can use.
Uh-huh.
Big deal coming. Like an auction. Everyone gonna be there. Whoever gets it gonna rule the city. Help me.
There's a hole in your femoral artery. You've been bleeding out for the last 5 minutes. Save me a bullet. Go towards the light. His vision goes dark. Frank goes to talk with Soap at his favorite bar, who is ostensibly the Punisher task force, but is actually his contact with the police. You heard anything about some kind of auction? Why, have you seen this great medieval torture implement you just got to have? I'm in no mood, Soap. Come on, get with it. Right. I don't know about auctions, but there is talk of a major meet. Mob, triads, Russians, blacks, Hispanics, and bikers, Irish. They won't be making it. The Japanese, if all these Yakuza rumors are genuine, that could be it. Your auction thing? Maybe. Everyone from the Bureau to the gang task force is going crazy, trying to find a time and place. I even heard whispers of DEA involvement. Not that anyone said it's narcotics. Punk I talked to seemed to think it was big time. Said whoever gets it'll rule the city. How about that? Have fun killing your way to the heart of the mystery. Have some cheese with your wine, Soap. Do you know I haven't had a decent night's sleep since the day I ran into you? Since the moment they stuck me on that stupid Punisher task force, my life's gone completely down the damn toilet. You're cursed. Do you know that? You're not just dangerous to criminals. You're a plague ship to everyone you meet. You should think about quitting drinking. Frank walks out, and a shocked bar patron follows him. Huh? Snitches next. All filth. All scum. Information for sale to whoever pays them. But there's things they won't tell the police. Things they might just tell me. The Punisher interrogates one thug against a wall. I don't know! Another by the subway tracks. I don't know! And another he douses in gasoline. I swear to God, I don't know! Half a dozen of these vermin. Then, high on a rooftop, someone finally talks. It's tonight. Big man jams on Mott Street, 3 a.m. People in from the West Coast got something they sellin'. Any idea what? Pay up. Back on heroin? You care what I do? Pay up, man. Come on, it's gold. I heard it from Baby G's boy. Pay up, okay? I need it. I ain't fooling. Don't get it from you. Gotta mug someone for it. Cut some bitch up. Do whatever I have to, man. Good point. Frank kicks him off the roof. Shouldn't take long to get to Mott Street. I stop off to pick up some hardware, not wanting to face half the underworld with a pair of 45s, and I'm on my way back out when it happens. Had a weird feeling since I left the bar. Frank ducks behind a car, almost as if I'm being followed. He turns and sticks a shotgun in his pursuer's mouth. Whoa! Don't you remember me, Mr. Smith? A flood of memories from his first year back in New York erupt in Frank's mind. The Russian, Ma Nucci, Mr. Bumpo, Joan, and, of course... Don't you remember me? Oh, no. Spacker Dave. Just Dave now, actually. I gave up the whole spacking thing soon after it took off. Comedy Central kind of stole the idea off me anyhow. Get yourself a lawyer if you ever do business with those guys, Mr. Smith. No, I was tired of looking ridiculous all the time. So I took a serious look at my life and grew the heck up. My name isn't really Smith, Dave. What is it you want? I'm a super spotter, Mr. Smith. It's a new thing. I found out about it on the internet. It's really, really cool. What you do is, see, you try to spot as many superheroes and crime fighters and vigilantes as you can. And you take them off on your record card. Then you can go online and exchange experiences with your fellow spotters. Spotter Dave shows Frank his scorecard with his own image checked off, next to Spider-Man, Captain America, The Thing, Iron Man, Daredevil, Thor, and others. I couldn't believe my luck when I saw you in that bar. I thought, hey, there's Mr. Smith. He's the Punisher. I can tick him off, and then if he teams up with any superheroes, I can get them too. I have to take this, Dave. You have to disappear forever. Don't even dream of following me around. Understand?
You betcha.
But in my heart of hearts, I know this is only the beginning. The call's from Inskip to say he has something good for me. I'm in two minds whether or not to meet him. On the one hand, Inskip knows things no other informant hears about. On the other hand, he looks like something you'd find up your nose. Still got time before the auction, so I decide to go and see him. Turns out to be my worst mistake in a long, long time. The Punisher meets Inskip outside of Garth's diner. Well,
I was just wondering. Anyone ever told you what a lousy, stupid, no-account psycho loser you are?
come again.
Oh, you heard me, meathead. You think you're so tough. You think everyone's scared of you. But you ain't nothing special. Just a lot of guns and a head full of broken glass. That's all you add up to. Brick Castle. The Punisher. The guy who ought to be locked in the friggin' Nutwater's more like it. That's what I brought you here to tell you, big man. That's the word on the street. The inside scoop. You are pathetic. You are nothing.
You know there are easier ways to commit suicide.
You know you ain't the only one I snitch for.
Frank notices a shadow behind him. Spider-Man, Daredevil, and Wolverine appear to confront the Punisher.
How do you like
Beat it, Inskip. How we do this is up to you. That's all I'm going to say. All of a sudden, I'm in the mood for a cheeseburger.
What?
I said I'm in the mood for a cheeseburger. Frank turns his shotgun around and hands it to Daredevil. Here. Confederacy of Dunces, Part 2.
But hey, wait!
You're here to arrest me. There's no way I can fight all three of you. Ever eaten prison food?
No.
If you had, there's no way you'd begrudge me this. Come on. He enters the diner.
Well, get after him!
The others follow. Bacon cheeseburger, medium well. Hold the fries.
Anything to drink with that?
Coffee.
Now just a friggin' minute, psycho boy.
Wolverine approaches the Punisher at the counter.
Don't think you can...
Amazing Spider-Man!
Huh?
And Daredevil Man Without Fear! And X-Man Wolverine! I knew there was going to be a team-up! Oh my god, I am tripping here! I'm Dave, and I'm a super spotter! I've got this card, see? And...
Ugh, forgot that idiot was stalking me tonight. On very thin ice here. Any one of these three could dismantle me in about a second. But between the burger plan and Dave distracting them, I might just have a chance. So long as I play it very carefully.
Hey, does Daredevil use a gun now?
What? No.
Clear out of here, you gink. Ain't no room for kids to play when men are doing business.
I can deal with this. You keep an eye on him for crying out loud.
Don't you yell at me, red boy.
I'm not going anywhere. The cheeseburger arrives, and Frank begins to eat.
So, are you like completely without fear? What about the first time you saw Alien?
Look, we're trying to apprehend a very dangerous man here. We really need you to step outside.
Are you people going to order anything? No. Are we?
Frickin' right, you ain't going nowhere, you murdering creep.
Kinda surprised at the other two.
Say what?
You got that little guy thing going on. You're on a permanent short fuse. But I thought they would have had more sense.
Little guy thing?
You know, always been smallest. Always had that chip on your shoulder. Always feel like you've something to prove.
What, you lousy? Wait a minute. I see your frickin' game. Trying to provoke me, right? Start some kind of ruckus? And escape into confusion? Gotta get up earlier on the other side of the bed to catch me out, buddy boy.
Blah, blah, blah. Devil's almost got Dave out the door. Bug Boy's buying coffee to shut the waitress up. I do this now or not at all. The rodent. Metal nose, yes. Metal cartilage? He elbows Wolverine in the nose hard, drawing a spray of blood. Guess not. If there's one thing anyone will lose their temper over, it's a good hard shot to the nose.
You're frickin' dead!
Logan pops his claws. Shh! No killing! We said no killing!
Out of the way, do-gutter. Gotta teach this Looney Tune a lesson he won't forget once and for all.
He closes in on Daredevil as Frank picks up his bill by the empty plate.
It don't pay to mess with the old canicle head.
Web him! Done! Spider-Man webs his claws to the wall.
Arr!
Cool off, Wolverine! I mean it! Wolverine tears chunks out as he frees himself.
Arr!
Oh, Lord!
He's totally lost it.
Take him down, now! Spidey backflipped over him and grabs his wrists.
Easy there, Tiger. Let's not forget who our friends are, eh?
Logan yanks him down into a spin and double kicks Spidey in the stomach.
Ah!
Peter is knocked out against a wall as Wolvie lands on his feet. Wolverine, you get one warning.
You mother-loving maggot, get the hell out of my way.
He slashes at Daredevil, chopping his billy club into pieces. Matt drives his stiff hand into Logan's throat like a knife. He collapses, struggling to breathe. Castle? The counter is empty, save for the money Frank left for his meal. Great. Just great. Marvelous.
Wowie zowie!
Meanwhile, the Punisher escapes in a taxi. Corner of Bowery and Canal. No way I'll be that lucky twice. Only a matter of time before the Super Goofs tried solving the Punisher problem. Those three decide to press the point, and I've got serious trouble. All three superheroes sit at the counter with their own coffee and burgers. Well, that didn't go very well.
I can't believe how quickly everything just unraveled.
I told you not to get overconfident with Castle.
Hey, if you guys are sticking around, could you, sign my record card? 'Cause that'd be so cool. I mean, everyone I know would just freak.
We're actually eating right now. Could you maybe give us some time to ourselves?
Well, will you be signing later?
Listen, you little...
Ah, come on. Don't be mean to him. There's no need. Cheer up, you guys. We'll do better next time. We'll make a proper plan. And this is a pretty darn good cheeseburger. An armed guard waits by a van. I'm scoping out Big Man Chan's when I notice a guy with the MAC-10. Not one of Chan's boys. Interesting. That stupidity back there cost me my shotgun, not to mention 20 minutes. I'd missed the start of the mysterious auction. If I'm going in anyway, I'm going to need some firepower. The Punisher covers the guard's mouth as he stabs him in the heart. The van's door opens.
Call?
Two guys with two MAC-10s. Kinda careless of me. Frank slashes the second guard's throat. Makes you wonder what they've got in the back of the van. But what's in the van doesn't make any sense. Inside the van is nothing but a huddled, naked man. That's worth two guards with automatic weapons? File under unsolved. Got more pressing business. Roger Big Man Chan runs half a dozen clubs in Chinatown. Sells almost anything you want through them. Launders money for the triads, and a lot of other people too. You wanted to hold an auction? You had something you claimed could make a man lord of the underworld, say? Roger's the guy you'd call to set it up. Frank climbs up a fire escape. A criminal switches off a huge TV and takes a tape out of a VCR.
Bidding starts at $5 million.
What?
You heard me. You all saw what was on this tape. I can tell from the looks on your faces you know exactly what it could mean to you. Pick your jaws off the floor, and let's get down to business.
Meanwhile, Frank chokes out another guard backstage.
Unimaginable power. 5 mil. Who's first?
Who else? The Punisher kicks down the door and charges through it with both guns blazing. No! His MAC-10s cut down the men on the stage first, and the videotape falls to the floor. God, no! Yes. Oh, yes. Frank sprays bullets into the crowd, strafing the room with gunfire. Burn in hell, you worthless bastards. Generals and soldiers. George Byron, been running Jersey since his old man's stroke. A bottle on the table shatters, then the drink in his hand, and finally his skull. Iron Joe Safanov killed his way from Minsk to Brooklyn. 3 huge men go down, only one of them able to pull his gun, and none able to return fire. The Bone Dog Posse, Bed-Stewie's finest, Pope Emil of 121st Street. The hail of bullets tear through their stylish clothes and jewelry, along with their bodies. Bob Lee Anderson, King of the Angels, Prince of Meth. The large bikers tumble over like bowling pins. And Roger. Let's not forget Roger. The last few hit the floor, then only silence and gun smoke fill the room. Glad I made it. Not a bad night's work at all. Frank picks up the videotape. Where's the merchandise? Where are you keeping whatever's on this?
Drop dead.
He grinds his boot in the man's stomach wound.
Man outside.
There now.
Just here, doing business.
That a fact.
Maggot guys heard, took off. You get nothing.
Guys have been dead for the past 20 minutes.
Hell.
The Punisher finishes him with a neck stomp. Pope Emil once scalped a hooker. Barone and Safanov were butchers. The Bone Dog sold crack and crank to kids. Roger's record speaks for itself. To ride with Bob Lee Anderson, you needed at least one rape to your name. But that piece of filth was just here, doing business. Been a long, strange night. Frank drives the van back to his apartment. I take the van and pick up takeout for breakfast, and all the way home I wonder what the deal is with the little guy in the back. $5 million that we're asking for him. Looking forward to watching that tape. He puts in the tape, labeled Big Money. Suddenly he drops his noodles. I rewind the tape and play it again. Rewind the tape and play it again. Rewind the tape and play it again. Rewind the tape and play it one more time. And that's when I realize all my troubles are over. Confederacy of Dunces, Part 3. The man from the van now sits in a chair, comfortably dressed, and hidden somewhere safe Frank is keeping him.
I think I've lost my memory.
Don't worry, I'll look after you.
Do you know my name?
Yes. No.
Do you know what happened to me?
Yes. No. You've got a bad gash on your head there. I'm guessing you had some kind of accident. Eat your stew. Frank puts down a big bowl for him.
What's in it?
That would be telling. Just stew. It's good for you. Make sure you eat all of it. I'll be back in an hour with more. Stew's a well-known cure for memory loss.
That doesn't sound right.
He nervously eyes Frank's gun.
Why have you got
There are dangerous men out hunting for you. You don't remember, but I rescued you from a gang of them. It's not safe for you to leave here. Don't. Get plenty of rest, and be sure to eat your stew. The Punisher leaves, locking the door behind him. Amnesia's almost total. Good. Everything goes to plan. That little runt is going to save my ass. Soap stands on the street as 3 Girl Scouts approach him.
What you doing, mister?
Oh, I'm just waiting for this bar to open.
Well, you want to buy some cookies while you're waiting? It's for a good cause, mister. We're selling them for charity.
Yeah, okay. I'll take a box.
Just the one?
Just the one.
Oh boy, last of the big friggin' spenders.
Well, if that's your attitude, I won't take any at all. You can't go around being rude to people and still expect to get what you want. That isn't the way it works. Good manners are a young lady's... The lead girl kicks him in the balls. All 3 Girl Scouts begin to stomp on him and beat him with boxes of cookies.
Keep your stinking money, bad boy! Lousy tightwad! Freaking pervert tries to touch us, maggot! Homo! Die, you bastard!
And what? PD?
They all run away as Kevin arrives to open the bar. That's the funniest feckin' thing I've seen in ages. Soap getting his arse kicked by a bunch of wee girls. That's the way to start the day. Come on in if you're coming. Daredevil, Spider-Man, and Wolverine have regrouped and now strategize on a rooftop.
Ask me, this sitting around jawing malarkey's a waste of frickin' time. We gotta be hunting the Punisher, not trying to talk him to death.
Input duly noted. Let's continue reviewing the events of last night. Spider-Man?
Well, there's not much to say, really. Castle endangered innocent lives. Once he put those people in the line of fire, there wasn't a lot we could do.
No.
No?
That isn't what happened. Think about it. Castle didn't put anyone in the line of fire. What he did was to start us fighting amongst ourselves. There were civilians in the room, yes, but he knew we would never allow things to reach the point where their lives were endangered. Subtle distinction, but the key to understanding Frank Castle.
Huh?
He figured one of us would take you down before you hurt anyone. He was right.
Lucky shot. That's all it was.
The man has a code of ethics, one he follows as strictly as the 3 of us do our own. He will not take the lives of innocents. In this case, that means us.
He thinks we're innocent?
He thinks we're downright naive, but the end result is much the same. He doesn't want to have to kill us. So, how far are we willing to push our luck? The Punisher needs a few days for his secret weapon to be ready, so he visits Hell's Kitchen to hunt for a specific target. 4 years ago, he and Daredevil disagreed over a murderer's fate, and he went to jail when Frank lost the fight. Last week, he was freed, though. Frank sits next to him at a bar and leads him away at gunpoint. Meanwhile, Soap attempts to drown his plethora of sorrows. Attempts to.
This is the 4th day in a row you've spent drinking, Soap. Are they not gonna miss you down at the precinct?
Everyone hates me there.
Whereas we all bleeding love you here, what? You dozy frigger. Huh?
Still, I have to admit it's entertaining watching a fella go from useless to sad to pathetic like this. Let me know when you reach suicidal. That ought to be good for a laugh. Ha ha! Later. Suddenly, Soap grabs Kevin by the hair and yanks his head back.
Huh? You want to laugh, Kevin? Is that what you want? A laugh? Well, laugh this off, you pile of crap!
Then he tears the barman's head off his body. Soap mounts the bar.
Well, no wise-ass comments? No put-downs? Nothing to say all of a sudden, you sniveling little reptile?
The men cheer him as he hoists his grisly trophy high in the air.
Go, Soap!
Booyah!
You the man!
Yeah, perfect! Oh, Soap, I'm so sorry that I dumped you. Please take me back. My life's completely meaningless without you.
Too late, biatch! I've already got my hands full with them!
A bevy of beautiful buxom bimbos burst in and begin bouncing buoyantly towards the bar.
So, we just can't get enough.
The ravenous women tear the clothes from his body, revealing the muscles of a Roman god.
For I am Soap, a lover, a slayer, a reaver, who treads the world of men beneath his sandaled feet. I rule! I rule! I rule!
Soap, huh? Reality crashes back down on him. Do you want another drink?
Snap out of it, Soap, you dozy bollocks.
I can't stand much more of this.
Yeah.
Elsewhere, Daredevil cocks his head. Wait, someone's screaming in the kitchen.
Huh? That's gotta be 50 blocks from here.
Trust me.
But what's it got to do with us? We're supposed to be looking for Castle, checking the bastard's regular haunts. This ain't the time for missions of frickin' mercy.
Spidey and Daredevil leap into the air and swing towards the sound. Wrong again.
For crying out loud.
Frank cleans off his knife. Time to get in position before all hell breaks loose. The heroes find Frank's captive slumped over and cuffed to a post.
Told you we'd be too late. Stupid friggin' wild goose chase.
Has he been...
Gutted. There's a note pinned to his shirt.
Yeah. Suckers. Suckers?
Matt and Peter are already back in the air. Suckers. As the Punisher launches a rocket at Wolverine. It scores a direct hit and explodes. As Spider-Man follows its smoke trail.
Let's get it!
Stick together, damn it! Logan's midsection is gone, his adamantium bones covered with blackened meat from his stomach to his knees.
Help!
With the ASAP, buddy. Gotta nail this no-good psycho first.
Had an hour or two here before I went to work on McKitty. Set a dozen pressure pads under the floorboards. All he has to do is hit one of them. Spider-Man's foot breaks through the floorboards as he enters the room. Frank flips on the lights, and Peter sees that he is surrounded by Claymore mines. Know what those are?
Yes?
Good. Lift your foot even a fraction, and they'll all go off at once.
Huh?
The last of the three is the one that's got me worried. Least formidable. Most dangerous. Year or two back, I fried those senses of his with an ultrasonic setup. No reason why it shouldn't work twice. Rigged it earlier. Hit the switch as soon as I think he's in range. Suddenly, Daredevil's arm punches through the wall, grabbing the Punisher's wrist. No. He twists it, and the ultrasonic device falls, unused.
Damn it!
Matt comes around the wall. Bastard! And kicks Frank through it. Daredevil launches the Punisher through a steam pipe with another kick. Then he grabs Frank's hair and knees him in the face. He tries to punch back, but Matt leads him to only hit the wall. Daredevil blocks Frank's next punch with crossed arms. Then hits him with two hooks and an uppercut, knocking the Punisher to the floor. Matt takes out his billy club. Get up. This was not one of my better ideas. The way I see it, he's got the speed, the skill, and the supercharged senses. All I've got's the weight. Frank tackles Matt out the window, high above the street below.
Castle, you crazy son of a...
Confederacy of Dunces, Part 4. Daredevil grabs a fire escape, and Frank holds on to his other arm. Dislocated shoulder. 2. Matt loses his grip and bangs into a railing as he falls.
No!
Well, not looking too good down there.
You've gone too far this time, Castle. You tried to kill Wolverine.
Can't kill the rodent. Hurt him all you like. He just grows the meat back. No, I came to warn you. Let this go. Hunting me just leaves the real scum free to do business. And look where it's gotten the three of you so far.
Go to hell. We're going to get you. We're going to put an end to this butcher work of yours. And we'll see to it that you're locked away in the dark forever, with all the other killers and monsters that wallow in the horror they've created for themselves.
Then on your own head be it. Later.
I ain't kidding. Somebody frickin' help me here. Help! Help! Help!
I can't. If I lift my foot, these things will go off. I'll be blasted into a million bits.
No, you won't.
Daredevil, thank God. Help!
I can't move my arms. You're going to have to help yourself. Take your foot out of that hole in the floor, and we'll go get Wolverine.
What? Dude, don't you know what these things are? They're full of explosive and steel ball bearings. One of these goes off next to you, and it's like you've jumped into a giant blender.
Remember what I told you. Castle won't take an innocent life. He'll beat us and cripple us and terrorize us, but he won't go all out to kill us. All he wanted to do here was take you out of the fight. Those mines have no explosive in them, or they're not wired to the detonator pad, or something, but they will not go off when you lift up your foot.
Listen, if you think I'm going to shred myself in the name of your half-assed armchair psychology...
Peter, please trust me. Just lift your foot off the detonator, now. Or I swear to God I'll walk in there and kick you off it.
Huh?
Peter yanks his foot up.
Huh?
I'm for writing this one out of the official history.
Fine by me. Frank returns to his captive, face covered in bandages. He says that his stew tastes sort of funny, but Frank reminds him he's lost his memory, so he doesn't know what it's supposed to taste like. He again tells him it's good for his memory loss, and goes to fetch him some more. After the fight, the superheroes will need a few days to heal up, by which time the captives should be ready to go. Frank tells him his attackers are still looking for him, but he'll be safe here for a few days until Frank deals with them, and he serves him another bowl of stew.
Ready?
Ready. Spider-Man yanks Daredevil's arm, popping his shoulder back into its socket.
Ah! 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 Ah!
Matt sinks to his knees.
How is it?
It isn't dislocated anymore.
This is a really nice place you got here.
Let's go and see how Wolverine's doing.
Oh, that is so gross.
Well, it looks like his intestines have grown back. Now we can get some painkiller into him. Ready to do my other shoulder?
Huh?
Meanwhile, Kevin the barman investigates his bathroom.
Soap? You've been in here for 3 hours. You alright? Soap?
He finds Soap with his gun in his mouth.
Soap, no! In God's name, don't do it! Don't!
Kevin? You don't want me to kill myself?
Well, not in here, I don't. We'll have to clean all the brains and skull and crap off the ceiling.
Go home and do it, you stupid little idiot.
What did you say?
Oh, are you deaf now as well as pathetic? I said go home and kill yourself, you...
Soap puts his gun to Kevin's head.
Now, Soap.
What did you say?
I...
You say a lot, don't you, Kevin? You're always there to offer an unhelpful word. Yes, sir. When I've gotten through yet another day of life taking a giant dump on my head, I can always rely on good old Kevin to make me feel 1,000 times worse, laughing his ass off all the while. He moves the barrel under his chin.
Oh, God! Soap, listen to me. Please, listen to me. You're a cop.
Yes, so I am. Soap regains control of himself and takes the gun away.
Oh, Jesus.
Lieutenant Martin Soap, NYPD. I run the Punisher Task Force.
Where are you going, Soap?
I'm going to do my job. With steely-eyed determination, Soap leaves the bar behind. A week goes by. My face heals up a little. The Phoebe in the warehouse eats a lot of stew. I keep a low profile, trying to stay off the Three Stooges radar. Waste a couple of wise guys out in Jersey. Nothing more ambitious than that. When everything's as ready as it can be, I make a phone call. Matthew Murdoch, Frank Castle. What? I read in the paper a while back that you're Daredevil. Now, wait a minute. Wasn't until then that I made the connection, and I've been close enough to know for sure. Hide in plain sight. Very good. Look, if you are who you say you are, you know I am. The garbage that rag printed has been proven to be... Grow up. I needed to get a message to you and the other two. Calling Nelson and Murdoch seemed like the quickest way. I did think about gutting some animal and leaving him in Hell's Kitchen with a note pinned to his chest, but I figured you might be wise to that one. Get to the point. It's time we settled this once and for all. I'll be in Red Hook at 4 o'clock, warehouse with the blue roof on Pier 39. The rodent will know it. I ran him over with a steamroller there not so long ago. Unseen, Spotter Dave eavesdrops on Frank with excitement. Go get the other two, and don't forget your tights. Matt smashes his desk to splinters.
Damn it!
Frank's captive holds his stomach in pain.
I don't seem to be able to go to the toilet.
Is that a fact?
Oh, it's not time for more stew, is it?
No. It's time you stopped whining and got on with doing what you do, you pathetic little maggot. He shoves the man out of his chair
But what?
and kicks him on the ground.
Oh! Oh! Why?
Because I'm sick of you and your stupid amnesiac act.
It isn't an act. It isn't. I've honestly lost my memory. I don't know who I am.
Yeah. Frank picks him up by his collar. You know who you are. And slaps him.
Ah!
He slaps the man again.
Ah!
You know. And again.
Ah!
Come on, quit pretending. Sooner you wake up, the sooner I can wash my hands of you. You lousy, useless, mewling waste of space. Frank smashes his face into a wall.
Oh, no. Oh, God. Run!
Frank kicks him in the balls. Why? What are you going to do to me, bitch? The man's face turns green as he grimaces in anger. At that moment, the three superheroes arrive at the arranged location. Bang on time. Frank walks out to greet them.
So there you are, you murdering fricker.
What's that? Huh? That noise. Like something tearing.
You just reached the end of your highway of hate, Castle. Gonna send you back to driving school so you can learn your lessons the hard way. Gonna teach you about the traffic on Wolverine Street.
Ugh. If ever there was a man who needed an off switch. Final warning. Forget about this. You might as well tell us to stop breathing. No more talking, Castle. Do your worst. It's not my worst you have to worry about. The Punisher drops into a manhole.
Hey, get him!
Wait, what? The heroes look up at alarm as the ground begins to shake.
Hulk smash!
A nearby building explodes as the Incredible Hulk bursts free of it. The Punisher closes the manhole cover behind him. Toom. There's just no telling some people. The Hulk barrels forward in an unstoppable rage.
Hulk destroy! Hulk crush! Hulk kill!
Confederacy of Dunces, Part 5. Matt and Peter leap out of the way as Logan readies his claws. The Hulk uppercuts him through a highway overhead.
Get it!
He pounds the ground with huge green fists, tearing up the street.
Hulk angry!
Watch it! Matt falls through the hole.
Daredevil!
Punisher's informant reacts in pain.
Soap?
That's just so you know where you stand, Inskip. Where's Frank Castle?
You broke my nose. I don't believe this. Soap, you little maggot, you broke my friggin' nose.
Soap shoves him against a car. I have to repeat my question, and I'll smash the side of your face until your eyeball pops out. You're a snitch, Inskip. Start snitching.
Okay. Look, he hit Big Man Chance last week. Took out the heads of half a dozen crews. Now he drove a white van out of there. A hooker seen him take it. And a guy I know in Red Hook swears he seen Castle drive a white van into a warehouse on Pier 39. I mean, it's thin, Soap. It might even be crap. I swear to God, it's all I know. Since when did you become Dirty Friggin' Harry?
Since I woke up. You might want to bear that in mind for next time. Frank finds Daredevil buried under rubble in the sewer. I was hoping we'd have a chance to talk. Castle? You being the only smart one, after all.
I'll show you smart, you maniac. You crossed the line, do you hear me? The gloves are off now. There's no going back. As of this moment, you are through.
More rubble falls as the battle continues overhead.
What the hell is the Hulk doing here?
Wolverine emerges from a small lake.
The Hulk? Curiouser and frickin' curiouser. Someone better have some answers for the old canicle head.
He stands up with a duck accidentally impaled on his claws.
And where?
Oh, Boston PD!
Some of this I know is true.
Puny little bug man!
Spider-Man narrowly dodges the Hulk's wild punch as it smashes through concrete.
Hulk, stop! I'm as confused as you are. Calm down. For God's sake, we gotta talk about this.
Some of it's just informed guesswork. He flips away as the Hulk slams a pipe with string attached to it into where he was.
What the hell am I saying?
Not too long ago, a gang of small-time scum in LA accidentally witnessed the Hulk reverting to Bruce Banner. They knocked him unconscious, drugged him, and flew him out here to auction him off to the highest bidder. The interesting thing was that they got all this on videotape.
Who would want to buy the Hulk?
The bad guys was what these maggots figured. Power like that can be very useful if you know how to direct it. Case in point, the last 3 minutes. Kind of a one-use only ultimate weapon, isn't it? The scum didn't care. The way they saw it, they'd be on the plane home with the suitcase full of cash long before the buyer discovered the limitations. They'd have made it too, if I hadn't killed them, along with everybody else at the auction. What might have helped a potential owner was that Banner lost his memory when he got KO'd, so you could at least rely on him not to go green at the wrong moment. Trouble was, as I figured out when I decided to let him loose on you three, if you wanted the Hulk, you had to cure the amnesia.
Which you did how exactly?
Banner was easy. I kicked the living crap out of him. The Hulk was even easier. I just left him a note. The paper in his massive green hand reads, "You are the Hulk. You like to smash."
Hulk squash Bugman like Bug. Then Hulk find one who tormented him and take revenge.
Peter dodges another ground pound, this time by inches.
Damn it, Hulky! Cool off!
He webs the Hulk in the face.
Hulk blind!
Spotter Dave excitedly keeps score.
Oh boy! It just gets better and better, from a Titanic team up to a two-fisted knockdown brawl for it all. What a day for super spotting! I've got the Punisher, Wolverine, the Amazing Spider-Man, and Daredevil Man Without Fear. Hey, you! Move, you idiot! And God's knife, get out of the way! And now I've got the Incredible Hulk!
As the Hulk rampages right behind him.
Oh, Lord.
I knew you were crazy, Castle, but unleashing the Hulk in the middle of Brooklyn? I mean, once that unholy monster gets going, can you imagine the blood you'll have on your hands? That's the clever part, if I do say so myself. For the past 8 days, Banner's been eating stew with C4 sliced into it. A lot of C4, along with a lot of Imodium. Wasn't difficult, but with his memory gone walkabout. This morning I even slipped in a micro-detonator. What that amounts to is a constipated Hulk with about 30 pounds of high explosive jammed in his guts. Hulk finally lands a clean punch on Spidey. Hit him with that on the outside, he won't even feel it. But hit him on the inside, the Punisher presses a button. Beep. The C4 in Hulk's intestine detonates, and he crumbles in agony. And there's only one place he can hide from that kind of pain. The Hulk transforms back into Bruce Banner. Look at the lengths I've had to go to not to kill you. This fight you've picked wastes everybody's time. Let this be an end to it. Once and for all.
You'll never understand.
I understand. You want to stop me murdering criminals by taking me off the streets. That's stupid. Send me to prison, and I'll just kill everyone I meet. There's only one way to stop me. You know that. If you haven't got it in you to do it, don't waste my time. Bug Boy'll dig you out when he wakes up. Frank climbs back up to the street where Bruce and Peter both lie unconscious.
You are under arrest.
Lieutenant Soap holds his gun on the Punisher. Frank Castle, I'm arresting you for the crime of murder. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to an attorney. If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be provided for you. Do you understand these rights as they have been explained to you? Have you lost your mind?
It's over, Castle.
This sickness of yours, and my collusion with it. I'm turning myself in, too. Frank takes a step towards him.
Hey! Step back! Halt! I'm warning you! Castle, I will shoot you! Castle?
He keeps walking forward.
Damn you! Don't you make me!
Soap fires into the skull on his chest. Frank plucks the gun from his hands.
Didn't go through.
Get yourself a 45.
Kill me.
Soap falls to his knees in defeat and begins to cry.
Just get it over with. I'm kidding myself here. I'm never going to turn things around, or do what's right, or change my stupid, pathetic life. The worm is never going to turn. All he's going to do is stay a worm.
Soap. A word of advice for when things aren't getting any better. Just go. His eyes widen with realization. That night, Logan rides a train and annoys the other passengers with his non-stop commentary.
Ain't nobody keeping the old cat knucklehead out of the fight. Not so long as he's got money for train fare. Yes, sir. Gotta paint Brooklyn green and red tonight. First up's the frickin' Hulk. And then, gotta take that creep Castle for a ride on the Justice Express. On the train, now arriving, at platform Snicked.
The man across from him looks up from his newspaper.
Excuse me, did you say you were going to Brooklyn?
Sure did, bub.
Right, because this train doesn't go to New York. It's actually headed for Philly.
What?
You must have gotten on the wrong platform in Boston.
No!
Epilogue. Dave, spacker or not, suffered a broken neck when he was run over by the Hulk. Although rendered quadriplegic for life, his fascination with superheroes is undiminished. Spotter Dave sees Iron Man fly past his window from his hospital bed.
Gotcha, Rooney!
Soap had an asset that hadn't previously occurred to him. He quit the force and moved to LA, where he became a major star in the adult film industry. A much happier man adorns the cover of a DVD titled, They All Bend Over for the Soap. Wolverine, Daredevil, Spider-Man, and the Hulk are all still doing their thing. It's 4 years now since I came back. Back then, to spread the word, I threw a maggot off the Empire State Building. And, well, call me sentimental. The informant lies cupped next to the building's rooftop antenna.
Castle, please, just listen to me for a minute. I'm sorry for all that stuff I said. Truly, I am. And I'm sorry I set you up for those guys. I apologize for that 1,000 times, 1,000,000 times. Just don't do this, okay? I am begging you, in the name of God.
You can beg the sun not to come up in the morning, Inskip, but it always does it anyway. Frank tapes his mouth shut. He pitches Inskip off the roof. 4 years ago, and looks to the city's skyline. The view was different then. I remember the day the towers came down, not for all the sound and fury, not for the streets awash with smoke, but for the looks on the faces of the people, the stricken horror of innocents killed stone dead. See, I thought, see now, see what the world is really like. The city now, it knew. It had known all along. Inskip's eyes are filled with tears and terror as he watches the ground come up fast. For a moment, I seem to hear it talking. Frank, it says, don't ever go away again. But I'm not going anywhere. I need you, Frank, says New York City. Always did like this town. The end. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this story, which ends the Marvel Knights run of Garth Ennis' Punisher. Garth would go on to write another series, Punisher Max, immediately after, but that would be set at a different point in time, later in Frank's life, and that series would be much more separated from main Marvel continuity. This joyous celebration of goopy fun and destruction was the end of an era, and to show that, Garth made the first Punisher Max story a very different take on the same idea of bringing the Punisher in. In the sixth part, In the Beginning, Frank's old ally Micro is tasked by the CIA to bring the Punisher in, but not to lock him up. Rather, they want him to go to work for the US, killing military targets and terrorists abroad with the full support of the government. Micro is able to sandbag Frank and get him locked up so they can give him their pitch. But unfortunately the mob are going after him at the same time, once it's been reported in the news that the Punisher is in custody. Frank opened the book by attacking a large mob party for an old man, a scene replicated in the beginning of the movie Punisher Warzone starring Ray Stevenson, and they're out for revenge. And as much as the Tom Jane Punisher movie was inspired by the Marvel Knights run, the darker toned Punisher Warzone movie was inspired by the Max series. And other characters and plot elements migrate from the book into the film as well, though not in so clear a form as the Russian. I think both movies are fine for what they are. I'd say Warzone is the closest we ever got to the comics, and the difference in the tone of those movies is pretty indicative of the difference in their source books as well, although Garth Knight's run is way funnier than pretty much any Hollywood movie of the time. Anyway, I highly recommend reading both series, and in the order they were produced, as one can easily imagine the Max Punisher simply being a future version of the Knight's Punisher, for simplicity's sake. It is a much darker and more violent book though, to the point of being gruesome like a horror comic at times, but it's high quality Punisher storytelling of a very different flavor than what I've mostly showcased here, and I don't want to sell it short as I end this two-parter. Taken in view along with The Punisher Kills the Marvel Universe, Garth's first time writing the character, one can see that there are many shades of retained humanity and spiritual desolation the character can work with, and I really think Garth brought out the essential core of the character in every iteration. I hope you enjoy exploring all the rest as much as I have, and as much as I've enjoyed making these episodes. It'll always be tempting to return to Ennis Punisher. It's just so much fun. So I can't say I'll ever be done with it, but at least I am for right now. So take care out there, everyone. And, as always, thanks for watching.